You've spoken about different permissions, and we've talked about a lot of them. And the last one you mentioned in your presentation was permission to give. Can you share with our audience here what that is and what that means, how that looks for youth?
Yeah. I think it starts with giving to oneself.
Yeah.
And particularly in the last several years, we're really calling for folks, and adults included, to give ourselves some grace, to give ourselves some self-compassion of that we're doing the best that we can.
Fancy that lesson, huh?
I know. We might be clumsy, we might be frustrated, no one's perfect. Like, that's all right.
Yeah.
And what it is, and to let it be. And I think when we can rest in that and give ourselves that self-love, it's critical. I often tell kids, would you say that to a friend, what you just said about yourself? Would you? No, we are often much kinder to other people than we are to ourselves. So give yourself that self-compassion. There's been a lot of research institutions that have devoted their work in what is happiness? What brings us joy? How do we measure happiness? And what we know is that happiness is a byproduct of doing a lot of different things. One is having a heart of gratitude, right? And an act of service. That when if you're able to have a grateful heart and you're being present and being grateful, that brings you joy. There's some inner peace that you're able to experience because of that.
Sure.
The research have been shown that if you are spending time giving and you have the ability to give, that you get joy from that giving, and that joy is actually longer lasting, right? The joy doesn't stop once the act of giving ends.
That's right. Yeah.
That you still reap the benefit of that act, and it stays with you, and it adds to your bank of happiness. And so when we give ourselves permission to do that for ourselves, but also for our neighbors, for our friends, for our colleagues, for our parents, I often tell young folks, give your parents a break.
That's
They're trying their best. They're not perfect, but they're doing what they can.
Yeah.
Give them some grace. Give them some benefit of the doubt. They love you.
Yeah.
Right. And if we can give to that, things suddenly feel differently. And when your parents say something, it can land differently if you have that grace and that grateful heart as you're listening to that.
Sure.
And not get so annoyed about something your parents are saying.
That's a good lesson. Yeah, but the impetus towards gratitude and generosity, I think that's also something that needs to be cultivated, right? That's not, as a Christian minister, I believe that is innate, but it also grows when it's tended to. So that's something that's helpful for us to think about. How do we infuse that in the lives of young people?
Yeah,
it's a challenge. It's a worthy challenge.
It is. And how are we modeling that?
Yeah, right.
Even at home.
That's right.
At your own home, how do you model that? How do you make time for that?
Yeah.
How do you live out that value as a family, if that is, in fact, one of your values?
That's right. Yeah.